Hello, 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 Sam. How are you, Governor?
Hello, Governor. Fancy seeing you here.
What are you doing out this time of night? It's a bit late for you to be out in it.
Oh, I'm keeping my eye out, Alasdair. Keeping my eye out.
Keeping your eye out for.
Some cyber chicks. Some cyber babes.
Oh, no. They could be around. They could be in your
They
basement.
could be.
You don't know.
Oh, good. You never know.
Cyberwoman in my basement. It's more likely than you think.
How are you?
How am I? I'm fine. I'm well. I'm rested. Have we said this enough yet? We've been on holiday. I'm really sorry. We know how it sounds. We apologise that we keep talking about it, but we don't do it very often. So we're just going to mention it one more time.
That was the first time you've been abroad, other than I think one trip to Disney.
A long time.
Since pre-COVID, I think.
Ages. And now I've done it. I'm like, whoa. Like, okay, got it. Because that was one of the best holidays I've ever had. And normally I find traveling really stressful. And that was just bliss. And I think it was because I was with my nearest and dearest and yourself that I felt totally safe the whole time. And it was a lot of fun. And we were in the company of yourself and your lovely boyfriend. And obviously, he's a local. And you have been many times to Barbados. And you knew where we were going. You know what
I
we were
knew
doing.
the way of the land. I knew how to drive. I've been driving a lot this time we went, and I'd driven the last time I went, which may sound really bougie, but it's because my partner's family are from there. But I drove a lot, which I liked. I liked having the freedom to be able to like nip here and there and everywhere. Like we wanted to go for dinner one night, and he wasn't feeling very well, so I was just like, okay, I'll take you somewhere. I know somewhere good.
I know a spot. I know a place.
I know a spot. But no, it was such a lovely holiday. Like we were saying, we recorded a Wholala episode out there, which was quite funny. We were talking about the Age of Steel, which is like a big, cold, like dark episode of Doctor Who, and we literally were sat like with palm trees and the ocean in front of us. And we were like,
so
lovely.
Good. I know.
So good.
I know. What was funny as well is on the way out, I didn't know they did this, and I thought you were lying, but BA, like, they do bring you drinks the whole flight. Like, they just keep bringing you drinks. They were like, what do you want?
Unless they run out.
They were like, well, there we are. That's what I was going to say. They just keep like, what do you want? And I'm like, oh my God, what can I have? And they're like, anything. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll have a rum and coke. And then they bring you a double. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. And then halfway through the flight, they run out. They're like, we have no more drinks. And I was like, oh. On the way back, they were stocked up. They kept coming past me. And like, in our time, it was like midnight at that point. And they're like, any wine? And I'm like, oh, it's kind of the end of the holiday now, and it's midnight, so I don't know if I should have a sort of third bottle of wine now. And I was like, maybe.
I only had one drink on that flight because I conked out. I was ready to like watch a movie, play some games. I literally put on The Wizard of Oz, got about 10 minutes in, passed out.
Of course you did. Of course you put on The Wizard of Oz. Yeah. I put on Talk to Me, which is a horror. And
I watched a horror on the way there.
Okay, well, it turns out I could handle it. It's really scary. It's really scary, but it's quite good. And I don't normally like a horror.
It's the one with the hand, right?
Yeah, and it's got some gory scenes that are quite hard to watch. And because I was watching it on an overnight flight, a lot of other people's screens were off and the lights were dimmed. So it came up with something really horrible. And I was like, flustering to like turn the brightness down on my screen. Like, now? If someone looked over their shoulder, I'd be like, what the hell is he watching? It was on the in-flight entertainment, okay? It was on the approved list.
It was. It was meant to be really good. I really want to see it. Yeah.
Not a cozy film for falling asleep to, and I didn't.
No. I watched Poor Things, not on the flight. I watched it yesterday while I was jet lagged and hanging out at home, and I hadn't seen it before. Have you? You saw it in cinema, didn't you?
I saw it in the cinema and I thought it was fantastic. Yeah,
really, really good, really, really great. I was watching it with our housemate Kyle, who you know because we just went on holiday with him, and he was like, "I'm so uncomfortable. This film is making me so uncomfortable." And I was like, "That's the point. That's the point." But he did enjoy it as well. But it was really, really good. It was quite unnerving and really interesting how it was filmed. But really, really enjoyed it. I'm glad I didn't watch it on a flight. It's not. There are certain films you can watch on flights. I watched one of the Insidious movies on the way there, and I was like, "That's a horror that you can watch on a flight." Yeah. But I was like, "No, certain movies you need to like watch on a bigger screen."
The audio on a plane is crunchy, very crunchy.
Munchy. It really is.
You know what you could watch on a plane?
Oh, I was just about to say, what? Tell me, what could you watch on a plane?
Torchwood season 1 episode 4 Cyberwoman. I don't think you'd lose a lot of the cinematic experience by virtue of watching it on a plane.
No, I don't think you would. I think that the experience I got today watching it on my laptop with a little crack on the screen was probably about the same as you would get watching it on a plane.
How it was intended to be viewed.
Exactly. So a little context for this episode. It was released on the 5th of November 2006. I didn't really realise how soon it was to the finale of Series 2 because that was, I think, July 2006, and then this was November, so it's only a mere few months later.
Oh wow, they were churning it out.
They were churning it out, baby. Of course, we're talking about the episode Cyberwoman. It had an original viewership of 1.39 million and it has an IMDb score of 6.2 out of 10. When I first saw the viewing figures, I was like, oh my God, that's shocking. That's awful. But then you do have to remind yourself, this was on BBC Three. It was post-Watershed. So it's like, okay, well, how many Doctor Who fans who are actively watching New Who only a mere 2 years into its tenure watching the grown-up show in the evening? So I think 1.odd million is pretty good.
It was the grown-up show. My memory of BBC Three around this time as well is it was the horny channel. Like there was some...
Sun, Sex and Suspicious Parents.
Sun, Sex and Suspicious Parents was definitely one reality show of that ilk. But also there was some, oh my God, what was it? I don't know. I don't know if it was just called Coming of Age. There was something like that where it was like a coming of age comedy. And it was, I mean, I watched it and enjoyed it, but it was foul. It was foul. It was all just like naughty jokes. And it just but really, really horny jokes.
Yeah.
And that was just what they kind of wanted, I think. Like, I think
I'm just looking up now. I'd never heard of this, but you're absolutely right. It was 2007.
Is that what it's called?
So very this, coming of age, very this era.
If anyone can find any clips from that on YouTube, I don't recommend it, but you will. That for me, like, fully encapsulates the BBC Three vibe of that time.
Yeah, but you're right. It was very that era of show. I think it's very much like meant to be Doctor Who, but for the grown-ups. And I think Torchwood definitely became a really, really, really good show. I think when you get into Children of Earth and Miracle Day especially, it becomes what it could be, which is Doctor Who-esque show, but with really hard-hitting, difficult topics, difficult questions, moral ambiguity. There's no like right or wrong way of doing things. It's just people trying to do stuff. That was what Torchwood became. That was a good use of being post-Watershed. This was the era where there was just like, hey, let's do sex.
Yes, it was like trying, I think, a bit too hard to be raunchy. I think the first monster in Torchwood season 1 is that one that like kills people via orgasm, where it's like,
in episode 2 it's
she'll like
the
have sex with people, and then it's just like she goes into a club and turns them all into like piles of dust, like in the bathroom and stuff, and then like they're like, Tosh, where is she? Give me the coordinates. It's like, oh my God, she's gone to a sperm bank. And they go. Oh, it was just awful. And she goes like room by room killing people. It was so stupid. And it was so like, it just was what it was. No, that wasn't the first villain. That was episode 2.
That was episode 2. The first one was Susie and the glove.
Susie and the glove. Yeah, which was actually quite a good introduction, I think.
I feel like
it lost its way a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like Torchwood, I've definitely rewatched it at points, but there's episodes, I feel like I don't remember the last time I rewatched this episode, but it can't have been that long ago because I actually remembered it fairly beat for beat. Like I didn't really have any surprises on this rewatch. I feel the same about episodes 1 and 2 as well, but there's definitely episodes in this series that I haven't rewatched for years, if I've ever rewatched.
I hadn't been back to this for a very long time.
Yeah. Well, for anyone else who hasn't been to this for a very long time and wants a little recap of the episode, as always, I say just go on iPlayer. You can watch it. It's basically free. Just pay TV license. But if you don't have the time, you just want to listen to this, here is a quick recap of the episode.
You know what was the biggest like actual jump scare for me as well was when we got past the credits and it was like Cyberwoman written by Chris Chibnall. And I was like, no! You're behind all this? I was like, Chris, no!
It's
like,
you!
You?
The meme of all the people sat in the church with a gun behind their head and then Chris Chibnall's on the top with a sniper.
Yes. It's like...
It's very there.
Chris, what the hell, man?
Chris.
All the times we've defended you. Anyway,
literally.
Into the story.
When the Torchwood team leave for the night and Ianto's left to his own devices, we realise that he's been harbouring a secret from the team, and not just his pizza orders. He invites Tanizaki, a doctor studying cybernetics, to the hub where he's been keeping his girlfriend Lisa hidden within Torchwood as she's been partially converted into a Cyberman.
Lisa was a victim of the Battle of Canary Wharf. Once the Cybermen started losing the battle, they started full body conversions as opposed to just transplanting the brains. As her conversion was cut off part-way, Lisa is only partially covered in cybernetics, with human features visible underneath.
Ianto brought in Tanizaki to try and reverse the process, but when the rest of the team hear of a UFO sighting, they all return to the hub, leaving Tanizaki alone with Lisa. Tosh notices odd power drains, and Ianto assures her it's just a problem with the generator. He heads down to meet the others, but is horrified to find Tanizaki's corpse after Lisa tried to convert him.
The power drains continue and the team believe they're under attack. They arm themselves to investigate and find the cyber conversion unit that Yanto was using to keep Lisa alive. Lisa traps Gwen in the unit to try and convert her. Upon escaping, the team is separated as they try to take down the Cyberwoman. Yanto tries to explain himself to Jack, explaining she can still become human again. He pleads this to Lisa, which only seems to confuse her about the nature of love.
Tosh manages to get the power restored, and after a quick dousing in barbecue sauce, their pet pterodactyl attacks Lisa and the team escape. However, the pizza that the Yanto ordered gets delivered, and the delivery girl blindly makes her way into the hub.
Like, recapping the story.
I know. This is where it gets silly.
It's around here, isn't it? It's around here. Jack gives Yanto an ultimatum. Go back into the hub and kill Lisa within 10 minutes, or he'll go down himself and take them both out. Yanto goes down and finds Lisa's body. However, his morning is cut short as the pizza delivery girl meets him and reveals she is now Lisa after transplanting her brain into the body. She tries to tell him of her love and says that they could be upgraded together. Yanto can't bring himself to kill her, but the rest of the team come down and make quick work of it. Yanto resumes his duties, forgiven but broken. Whoa!
Oh my god, what a load of thoughts. Well, before we jump into our thoughts, we reached out to you on X to say what you thought, and you had quite a lot to say.
You had plenty to say.
Alex Spiddles said, I'm sure we're all wondering about the choice that was made with that costume.
Bad Wolf Archives says, it's badly written, badly acted, ridiculously designed, and cringy. 8 out of 10. Beautiful piece of television.
Nick Sometimes Draws says, I have a Cyberwoman figure standing on my desk looking at me, and I still wonder whether this really happened. The emotional beats between Lisa and Yanto are touching, and I enjoy it more as a silly base under siege fun. After all, Cyber Lisa truly is looking Camp right in the eye.
Oh, she is. She is.
She is.
Kitty says, if not for the hideous costume design, it would actually be a pretty emotionally poignant story, especially with what it reveals about Yanto's secretive nature and deep devotion to his loved ones to the end. It's heartbreaking and thrilling, and the Cyberkini ruins everything.
Kitty, I agree with you. That's literally my thoughts. Cyberwoman Lisa punching CGI Mathanwe is so ridiculously Did you know that the pterodactyl is called Mathanwe?
Oh, what is it? I didn't know what that was. There was a lot of campery in this. Dennis said, I like the concept of a loved one being Cyberman and a base under siege story. However, the execution of the costume was bad and the design team was taking advantage of the post-watershed time slot. Lisa should have resembled a shad. I give this episode 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's very fair. And finally, Nick Ferrazza says, is it a good episode in the conventional sense? No. But is it still a fun and entertaining watch nonetheless? Also no. However, do I have a soft spot for it all these years later? Still, the answer is no.
Oh my God. I wanted to start with the ending. So listen, if you've made it this far into the episode and you're not familiar with the Torchwood team, it's a great concept. So in Doctor Who Series 2, we learn about this organisation called Torchwood that was inadvertently founded because of the Doctor and Rose's gallivanting around willy-nilly in front of Queen Victoria and freaking her out. And they serve as kind of Britain's defense against aliens. And so when they meet Torchwood again in the present day, it's a much more sophisticated organization, and their big London base is called Torchwood 1. Yeah. So this is all about the team in Torchwood 3, this little plucky gang of 5 who live in this very edgy world under Cardiff Bay. They all wear leather. They all wear black. They are a little gang of incestuous gun wielders who all have complex personal lives and apparently bloodlust. And there's a lot of memes made about Torchwood 3. And there were memes going around about Torchwood after the Star Beast, where it was like, I'll tell you one thing, and that's that Torchwood would have killed this thing with hammers. And there's always that kind of meme about like, oh, I'll tell you one thing, like Torchwood would have shot this with a gun the first time it saw it. And that kind of is how they approach things. The ending really made me laugh. Like Yanto's like sobbing, like, please don't kill my cyber girlfriend. And let's turn around. 4 of them, not just one of them, 4 of them are repeatedly like blasting. Yeah, get it again.
Literally.
Blasting bullets into it. Yeah. Oh, they're just merciless. So funny. Like the Torchwood approach to a problem is so violent. And
it really is shoot first, ask questions later.
And it's never self-aware about that either. It's just...
I felt like a lot of this episode, because I agree with you, I really like the Torchwood team as well. I feel like they often feel like there's this weird vibe of like, because it is meant to be like edgy and like guns, sex and rock and roll, but like there is a really weird vibe of them all feeling like kids left to their own devices. Like,
yeah,
they're just there, like,
they will
like Jack is like playing the role of like a captain, like, come on guys, I'm giving the commands, and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that ending, I had that noted as unexpected ending. I found this really difficult to break down into highs and lows, because I found that every point had highs and every point had lows, so they kind of like all spread around. I actually did like bits of the ending. I feel like, and I'll say this as my like disclaimer, I feel like this episode had, I agree with a lot of the tweets were, it had the potential to be not just a really good Torchwood episode, but genuinely, I think it had potential in it. By bear in mind, this is a bad episode, and I believe this is a bad episode, to be one of the best Cyberman stories I believe ever, where there's like a half human, half Cyberman being, very Ashad-esque, I think. Like maybe they're rotting, but like you can still see parts of them, or maybe it's that like they're mainly Cyberman, but you can still hear their voice or something. Like they're trapped in there, and it's about Yanto desperately trying to save their humanity, and maybe he like reveals their face at one point and you see that they're rotting, but he believes they're still under there, and it's all about a base under siege. But there's just one too many things in this episode that make it bad. I really don't love the barbecue sauce bit, where it's like, it's kind of like barbecue sauce helps it identify its food, and then this pterodactyl called Mathanwe comes down and just starts eating.
I forgot that was the
Cyberwoman.
Resolution.
Yeah.
Completely forgot that was the resolution. I was going to
really
say
weird.
the same thing, right? Like, the concept is good and actually quite freaky. Like, when they do flashbacks to, like, how she became half Cyberman, it's actually quite unpleasant. And she's screaming and she's in, like, her cunty Cyberkini, but she's got, like, blood splatters on it. And she's like, help me, someone help.
Yeah.
And all these, like, dark things happening within kind of Canary Wharf, while the Doctor and Rose are a few floors up, kind of getting separated forever, and he's sobbing against a wall.
Yeah.
It's nice. Like, I like the overlap of events, and like that while the Doctor's doing one thing, there's other much darker consequences happening somewhere else. I do like
I agree.
that. But yes, I do feel that I have quite an extensive list of things that are just like unforgivable about this episode that just make it to me like I can't quite take it seriously. The one moment in this episode where I was starting to feel an emotion, it was obliterated by 4 members of Torchwood just whipping their guns out and just
yeah.
I mean, let me start. I'll say something positive. It's very easy watching. Like, I think Torchwood and like Torchwood stories, I find generally are quite easy to just dip into one at random, because they're quite good isolated episodes. Like, and there's always some kind of like fun, dark theme being explored, and there's some kind of like almost like horror aspect to a lot of it. And they could be quite, just like as one-offs. I rarely want to sit and watch a series of Torchwood, but often if I'm just looking for something to put on, like an episode of Torchwood is like always a good romp.
Yeah.
So it's good, easy watching is what I would call this. It's a laugh.
I agree. I forget that like a lot of Torchwood is very like handheld filmed. It really reminded me of like Modern Family or like The Office or something. It's like very differently filmed to Doctor Who. It feels like a very different vibe, not just in its like tone, but just the way it's filmed.
Shot in the style of The Office would be so funny. Like looks to camera.
Literally, Gwen being like,
you guys seeing this?
But I like this episode in particular, especially how it opens, because you kind of get to see the fun side of Torchwood at the beginning, because like Torchwood is so like grungy and like emo and like we're the dark side Doctor, and I like that like they're just like, it's kind of like a side adventure. Like they don't give time to them like playing basketball and going out for drinks and stuff. Like it's quite fun to see. I did notice, which I thought was just really random, is Jack downing a pint of water?
Oh, I don't know. He's probably a pint of vodka, isn't it? Knowing him.
Knowing him, this is the thing. So I was like, Jack does drink, but he's like down a pint of water.
Yeah, this one, like, it opens with like the Torchwood team like totally ignoring Yanto and just doing their own thing and like playing basketball. Even there, the thing that took me out of it, they are playing with a Torchwood branded basketball net. Torchwood
I thought that.
The worst kept secret in the world. We're like, we're beyond the government, we're beyond the UN, we're beyond the police. And I'm like, well, you had to order the Torchwood branded basketball net from somewhere. There's
I
nothing
know.
discreet about like going to a sign maker and saying, "Hey, could you I'll send that as a PNG, that's fine."
And in the font as well, make sure it's just font.
Torchwood. There has to be the right font. Thank you. Like, no need for that whatsoever.
I thought it was really funny on that line, the cyber conversion unit, they're like, oh my God, you've got a Cyberman cyber conversion unit and you brought it here. And all the screens on the conversion unit have the Torchwood logo. And I like get that they were from the Torchwood, but I'm like, did you have time to like read? Because he's like, I reprogrammed it. And I'm like, with the Torchwood branding? Like,
yeah, he like
so
connected this
random.
up to the whole like Torchwood intranet. And at no point on Tosh's screen was it like new device connected cyber converter.
That
like
never came
the
up to
Windows
anyone.
noise when you plug in a USB, just blum, blum, blum.
Yeah, it does that PlayStation 1.
That was another like major low for me, was like the idea that nobody in the gang, including Jack, who like I think lives in Torchwood, I don't think he lives anywhere else, I think he like lives full time in this place, did not notice Yanto wheeling in a whole cyber conversion unit. Like I don't think there is a back door. I think we see both entrances and exits in this episode in there, and then like spending like hours of time down like reprogramming. He had to get her in here somehow. I don't know how she got in discreetly from London to Cardiff. How did they travel? How did he do it?
Must have been in a big black Jeep. No, I guess like it's alluding to the fact that Yanto it like leans into his secretive nature a lot more, and like even when they're like going out and doing missions, Yanto doesn't usually go with them. I can pick up on the fact because they kind of say, I think in previous episodes, they're like, oh, Yanto just like looks after us. Yanto makes the coffee, and it's like, oh no, Yanto the whole bloody time has been sorting out this
Yanto
Cyberwoman.
is also wheeling in half Cyberwomen in the back of his truck. He's down at B&Q every time you're off on a trip. He's getting cabling. He's getting
busy.
power. He's getting monitors.
Not busy being a doormat for the rest of Torchwood.
Yeah, he's downstairs, like, I don't know, being a computer hacker, apparently. Like, that was very glossed over as well. Like, up until now, he's very much just been, like, the doorman who, like, I don't know, like, knows where the keys are and stuff. And for some reason, he can also, like, hack cyber technology. I was like, okay, yeah, sure.
Oh, I guess they were like, because they say, like, how to do it. And she's like, I told him how. And I'm like, okay, sure. Whatever. You're into like, the cyber intranet, but whatever. Sure.
She was like, this is the monitor you need. This is the keyboard.
I mean, I think we'll get into the Cyberwoman in a second. I do like that because this is one of the only episodes that has like a direct link to Doctor Who for Torchwood, because both Torchwood and then I guess less so the Sarah Jane Adventures like led into us. I think the Sarah Jane Adventures had the Slitheen as like their big tie to Doctor Who. And to be honest, I think that the Cyberwoman is the only main villain tied to Torchwood because they often did original monsters and stuff. And I do like that. I like that they have like with the cyber conversion unit, it's very, very similar animation to the series 2, like drills and saws and stuff.
Yes.
Of Doctor Who. But I think we should just get to the meat of the situation and talk about the Cyberwoman.
I think it's time to talk. I mean, I'm almost like skirting around it at this point. So the Cyberwoman in itself, like, kind of a dumb concept, because the whole point of the Cyberman was like absolute uniformity, which doesn't reveal any individuality, including gender. So the idea that like, oh no, there's like another version of that where they did these partial body conversions, but for some reason on the women, they gave them like the Cyberkini, like really protruding boobies, and then kitten heels. Like there's a close-up shot where the Cyberman stomps on over, she twists her heels, and she fully has little heels. Like there's absolutely no story reason for that.
I had the exact same note, and it's like what made me laugh so much is that like Cyberman have that like dunch, 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 stomp, and it kind of like goes dunch, like as she's like scraping this little kitten heel, like a 1-incher, like she could really do a number in it, and I'm just like, for what reason? The thing that
just no reason,
like,
none,
gagged me more than that is they do like a close up of Yanto holding her hand, and she's got silver nail polish on, and I'm like, in this world, their reasoning for the fact that she's got like the full body conversion is that it was quicker than trying to like transplant the brain.
Yeah,
and I'm like, but you had time for a manicure. You gave up.
painted the
Or
nails.
did she just turn up to work that day wearing silver nails and be like, oh, what a coincidence.
Just bad luck.
Bad luck.
I was thinking this. She looks really healthy is the other thing, right? Like underneath her cyber costume, she's got like beautiful soft skin. She looks really well. She looks very alive.
Yeah.
And I get that that's maybe like part of it. It's like, oh, like the distinction between like, where does the woman end and the machine begin? But like she has eyeshadow on. Like if she put that on when she came to work that day, that was months ago. It is sticking. She primed.
It's so funny the difference between her conversion and Tamazawi, where his is meant to be like gruesome and gory and disgusting, and she just looks so much like she's like slipped into that like PVC suit 10 minutes before the other action.
Thing, right? Is like all the traditional Cyberman elements, like on the head, are really metally looking, and then all the body bits and even the neck bit, they look really rubbery. Like there's moments as well where they're like, here, I'll help you walk. And she's stumbling along a corridor. I can't remember why she's walking. Oh, they've taken her off the life support machine. Yeah. And they're stumbling down a corridor together. And someone kind of puts their hand on her like stomach area. And like the costume kind of like wobbles a bit when they touch her. Like it's clearly squishy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, what can I say? It's cyber heels, eyeshadow, silver nail polish, Cyberkini. It's the whole thing's pretty offensive. There's even a moment where, bizarrely, from Jack, who is meant to be like, I'm from the 51st century. I smell like pheromones. I don't even have a preference in species. Everything's good with me. He runs in, looks at her, holds up a gun. He's like, you're a woman? And I was like,
to be fair, anyone who knows the Cybermen would probably have that reaction when you saw her. Like, it's so.
But it's like the whole point with a Cyberman is it could be anyone. Like,
well, this is I agree. Well, I was shocked. Like, I don't know. I was writing here. I think the costume's laughable because it's like so directly for the straight male gaze, and yet it's like adored by the male gaze, as in gay. Right. Because like you said, she's like wearing the heels. She's not gay. She's wearing the heels. She's got this. One thing that gagged me is she's only 26. She's younger than us. Like, she's 26. Right. They're like, how old are you? She's like, I'm 26. I was like, how old's Yanto meant to be? Like, how old is this team? And then I looked at Gwen and I was like, Gwen's really young.
There were so many just like, also just really icky moments for me. So like, they really hammered home early in the episode, like, Yanto is her boyfriend. She is his girlfriend. And he's like, oh, here she is. And then they have this horrible kiss, like a proper like wet.
Wet, mushy gushy.
And I was like, ew. And then the doctor, what's his name?
Dr. Tawazaki.
Sure, he's tapping around and he's kind of having a feel and he's scanning her and stuff, and then he starts getting like really fascinated and he cups her boobs at one point, and then he's like cupping her thighs, and then he's squishing around on her, and I'm like, ew. I mean, I guess that was also meant to be icky because it's meant to upset Yanto and make him jealous that this guy is grabbing his cyber girlfriend's cyber boobs. I couldn't. It's so strange. It's so strange to me. And then a final, like, maybe too finicky complaint is that her clanky cyber stomp sound only kicks in when she's gone evil. Up until that point, she doesn't really make any noise when she's moving around. She's quite like delicate on her feet. And then she like gains 100 pounds when she becomes evil. Up until that point, she's just kind of moving around. And then she becomes evil. And it's like,
no, I get that. I hadn't really thought about that, but that's actually really true. The thing that bugged me is that, like, so she just is purely human when she's talking, and then when she becomes like cyber, she has like a sort of robot voice. But it's so different from like the Cyberman voice. I kind of wish. I was wondering if Nick Briggs ever was involved in Torchwood.
He was not available. He was not. Yeah,
he was not available. I kind of wish that he had like ADR'd the lines that she had said on set so they could have like the Cyberman voice under her voice, because it's literally just like they got her voice and then put like some weird robot filter on it to be like, oh, she's a cyber lady. And that was weird. I wish if I could have done one thing to amend the cyber lady, it would have been that she, in the episode when she's left her own devices, she uses the conversion unit on herself, and it kind of just like zaps her with electricity, and she gets like this really weird grin. She's like,
she's smiling away.
She's smiling away. And I wish that what had happened is that she had converted herself fully into a Cyberman then, because they're kind of, the implication is that she kind of zapped herself with power and like that like zhuzhed her up a bit. But like, I wish that she had converted herself into a Cyberman, and then Yanto is faced with this, like dilemma of, oh, now that you don't look at all like my girlfriend or sound at all like my girlfriend, do I still believe you are? Like the whole Pete and Jackie thing where he's like, oh, maybe we can reverse it, we can still go back. I think that would have like led to some really interesting storylines for Yanto, and then you still could have had a similar ending where like she removes the body's damaged and she has to remove the brain, or like maybe in that way you remove it so just the face is visible and you have a conversation like, you can't kill me. I just feel like the opportunity was wasted for the sake of like selling sex. It should have like lent more into like a serious tone and body horror, and it kind of just like gave it up for a sexy cyber gal.
Yeah, there's like moments where I almost buy it, like him being really sad about his girlfriend, and then I just immediately don't again. Like for me overall, the romantic chemistry is not believable.
I don't know.
Especially
I believe it.
Especially at the start, I felt very like, oh, come on now. It was a bit GCSE for me. Early on,
maybe at the start.
It's like it's not it, it's she. And it was like,
come on, pronouns.
The doctor's like, Yanto, and she's like, you mean my boyfriend? Like,
yeah, no, I get that. I think towards the end, especially, like, I think when he has, like, one thing that I think this episode did very well is moments of tension. I think that Gareth David Lloyd did give a really good performance at these points. Like, it's not even just with his character. There's moments where, like, I really, really love Owen when he sees the conversion unit, and it's that kind of fear of, like, the doctor realizing that the Daleks are there when they shouldn't be, like that kind of thing. Like he immediately knows what it is, and like he's normally the jokester and the sexy guy, and he's immediately like, I'm deadly serious. Like Jack's like, don't joke about that. Don't joke about that. And you know, really understand the gravity of the situation. Like you said, they took down Torchwood 1. Same with Jack. He has like you see his darker, more like pragmatic side, like the way he's willing to shoot Yanto. But I did think that at the end, when Jack and Yanto were having their face off, where Jack was like, even though I think it was better on Yanto's side, Jack was like, you go in there and you finish the job. But Yanto like crying and staring and being like, you can't make me. Like, you can't, I'm not going to. And he was like, I'll shoot you both. And he's like, well, I still won't do it. I do think that like, he was showing his acting chops then.
Sure.
But he does become a bit, I will say, he does become a bit of a, I don't want to say the C word, does become a bit of a twat. Yanto at the end of the episode, he like punches Jack and he's like, you're worse than anything down there. I'm really like, mate, that's your cyber girlfriend.
I feel I'd agree. I think they do a good job of building a picture of the threat of the Cyberwoman, which for me dissolves every time I look at her. And gives
that's
like,
very fair.
You know, if she appears in the background of a frame, it's always Mum, I threw up. Every time I see her, it's Mum, I threw up.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not an intimidating character. And even her strength, I think they don't show that well. She's often like lifting people up by the neck, but doesn't follow through with killing them. Or she'll zap someone in a way that they go, ow! And that's it. But there's a good, I mean, they talk about the threat of a cyber person very well. Yeah, Owen's recognition of the conversion unit is really good. Like that performance of like, oh my God, that can't be here. They're supposed to be destroyed. I thought that was good. And like Jack telling Tosh that she has to seal off Torchwood and abandon them if he's not back in 15 minutes. And she's like, I'm not going to leave you. And he's like, you have to contain this thing. There has to be a last line of defense. We have to shut it down. Like explaining as well, like this is how the Cybermen start out. They have some stupid origin everywhere they go. And this will be the stupid origin story here if we don't stop this one cyber person. Yeah. So there's that.
I really need to rewatch The Next Doctor at some point, which I really don't want to do because it's a bad episode. But I can't remember what their explanation is for why the Cybermen end up in the 1800s, other than like, oh, we fell through the void. Because like I kind of think this is a funny origin story. For the Earth Cybermen is just this one cyber lady. I remembered as well earlier the moment of realization I was talking about with Owen seeing the cyber conversion unit. It was reminding me of something. It was Sarah Jane. In the Sarah Jane Adventures, when she sees the Sontaran ship and she's like, oh my God, like this can't be here, this shouldn't be here. That was the same energy it was giving me when Owen saw the cyber conversion, where it's like, oh my God, I know how devastating this can be.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Thank you.
Other character dynamics that I think worked well as well, like the dynamic between Jack and Yanto, I actually didn't think was awful. Jack, I think, was quite good at being sort of the ruthless leader and being the kind of like, I set the rules, you report to me, and if you don't like them, I'll shoot you in the face. I thought that was pretty good. And then Yanto really was annoying me. Yanto was irritating me by the end. I was really like feeling quite like, you know what, like I'm with Jack here. Like, I think we probably should kill Yanto. I'm kidding. No, don't. There's probably still Yanto stands. The shrine
there
is standing.
There are definitely still Yanto stands.
Oh, I didn't mean it. Don't come for me. They're going to dox me.
So just to say, I do not align my thoughts with that, so I do not think the Yanto should have died in this episode. Thank you so much.
I liked how they explained in this, like, some of his motivations as well. Yanto, like, saying, like, I clear up your shit. No questions asked. That's the way you like it. When did you last ask me anything about my life? I think was quite good. Now, I haven't watched back, like, episodes 1, 2, 3 and how well this is set up. I'm not sure it was super well set up until this point. Maybe it was.
To my memory, it was. I remember in episode 1, all Yanto really does is he sits at the reception, and when Gwen comes in, he's like, oh, downstairs, there you go. And I think that Yanto's the one who deletes her computer. Like, he hacks into Gwen's computer when she's writing the note. Like, he does some stuff, but he's very much like a side character.
Okay, so maybe this works better having seen those.
Redacted. Just off the back of you were talking about Jack and Yanto's relationship with this, the one thing I thought was like a bit odd, they do that kiss, which is like, I guess, a nice precursor to what happens in their relationship, but also bit weird, not the time. That's not the kiss of life. He just kind of saw that unconscious man and was like, I'll go for a bit of a snog.
So context for this one, see what you think of this one, girls. So we have the Cyberwoman chasing Gwen and Owen into the kind of like surgery medical bay part they have.
The morgue.
I apologize. The morgue. And they climb into, what is that thing? The little thing you put bodies in.
I know what you mean. The
morgue.
Cavity.
What is that?
I don't know. The fridge. The human fridge.
They're in the human fridge. And they climb in the human fridge, and Owen's very specific about, like, get on top of me. She's like, I'm not going to get on top of you. And she's like, nah, you got to get on top of me. And they climb in there, and then they start fiercely making out, and they have some disgusting dialogue after this about, like, how Owen
he had a hard on.
Like, I hate that so much. And he's like, you weren't exactly struggling. I'm like, bleh. Anyway, I hate so much that that's, like, on the record with my voice. But anyway, and then at the same time, upstairs, Yanto has been picked up by the throat by the Cyberwoman and thrown across the room. He's unconscious. Jack was also unconscious because he got electrocuted. Jack wakes up and he sees Yanto lying in the water, just kind of unconscious. He does not give the kiss of life. He does not give CPR. He starts chewing that man's face off. It is assault. Like, there's no way around it. He just
that was
chews
non-consensual
that man's face
assault.
off. So this is it. They don't kiss. Jack kisses him. They do not kiss. I mean, and then he goes, and he wakes up. And I'm like, I don't know how that woke you up, because that wasn't first aid. He was chewing your face off.
Dickmatized. I'll tell you that. He was you see what happens later in the season. Dickmatized, baby.
Dickmatized. And I mean, bizarre. Also, this whole sequence is so funny to me because Jack is like, it's going to be a fight to the death. And the fight to the death in question is an extraordinarily crap, just moving around the building. They're like, oh, she's downstairs. Oh, we're upstairs. Oh, she's over there.
She moves really slowly. Like, I know the Cybermen kind of stomp, but like, at the pace she's going, they can always outrun her. Like, the only time I ever really felt like a little bit of tension in this chase, like literally the only time, is when Tosh is using the timer. Like, they got like this device that can unlock any lock because the building's in shutdown. And she's kind of trying to get the front door open, and Lisa like catches her eye and like chases after her, but like slowly, because it's like a slow chase because Tosh can't go anywhere. She's trapped in the doorway and she's waiting because it's got like a 45-second timer or something. And that was the only part I felt there was like a little tension. When Tosh can't go anywhere, she's slowly walking towards her, and then when she does shut the door, that like hand smashes through and it's a bit chunky,
she has like a zombie cyber hand like smashes through, and that's scary. That was a good shot, a good scene, red lighting, really cool. That was great.
Yeah, that was the only bit that I really liked there.
But contrast that with, I mean, they literally are like, well, she's downstairs, we're going up the stairs. She's in that room, we're going in this room. And they just kind of avoid her for a bit. And she doesn't really ever catch up or pull any tricks. And there's one point where she's about to catch Gwen, and then someone just goes, what are you waiting for? And just distracts her completely. And she's quite defeatable.
I will say, I was going to save this for fun facts, but I'll say it now because it fits in well. This is actually the first ever Cyberman story where a Cyberman uses both the electrocution ability and the wrist gun, the wrist blaster. So in Army of Ghost Doomsday, they use the wrist blasters, but they don't electrocute people. And in The Rise of Cyberman Age of Steel, they electrocute people, but they don't shoot them with the gun. And this is the first time where they actually do both. And I think that's so funny because it's now so synonymous with Cybermen that they can do both. And I never realised that this was the first time they ever do it.
This is the first time they did it forever on the record. No changing it.
No changing it. You can do it now. Yeah, along with the action, I think that the dialogue was really ropey. There were a couple odd moments that I liked. There's one bit I like where Yanto's saying to Lisa, like, she's just killed the doctor, and he says, "You can't let this happen again, Lisa. If you harm anyone else, I'll..." And she cuts him off and she goes, "Yes, what will you do?" And I quite liked that. But then in the same breath, he'd be talking about love, and she's like, "Isn't that what love is? A mutual conversion?" He goes like, "No, that's not love." And she goes, "Then we are not compatible." And I was like, oh, for God's sake, like, you've ruined it.
Yeah, also like just a really weird explanation of love, even from a cyber person, of just being like, "I'll put your brain in my head. That's love." I was like, what? Like, as a metaphor, I'm not even quite getting it.
It's like together forever.
Isn't that what it is? Like fusing us together. I was like, what? Listen, some good things. There were some freaky bits. Like I said, there's the kind of Lisa chasing Tosh and punching her zombie arm through a gate to chase her. That looked really cool and freaky. Yeah. Also, this cybernetics guy who's come to fix Lisa gets quite horribly mutilated by her in the conversion chair. So like the conversion gone wrong was quite scary, and like seeing like the outcome of that, where he has like a tiny bit of a Cyberman's helmet, like the eye is like fused onto his head, and he's got like a bit of like cyber helmet sticking out of his head, and he looks all bloodied up and horrible. And that was a really good prosthetic and quite freaky. Yeah. They obviously spent a lot of money on it because they kept showing it. But I quite liked that. The other bit I really liked is when Reese calls Gwen.
Oh, I love that moment.
It's a very inopportune moment where Gwen's trying to hide and her phone starts ringing. And Reese's like, "All right, lover, it's the man of your dreams. I've had a couple of beers with Daff and we're off for a curry. So can you video wife swap?" And I was so like, "That's funny." Good.
I know that like Torchwood is a Chris Chibnall thing, but that feels like such a Russell T Davies touch.
Yes, it does.
Like I'm sure he got the script through and was like, "Why don't you add a little bit like a call from home?"
Just one
like,
funny bit. Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, that made me laugh. Ultimately, I do think, like, also a pterodactyl versus Cyberman fight is quite a fun idea. Like, execution is not all there, because when they kind of did it, I was like, well, that won't stop the Cybermen, of course not. And then it does. Like, I was like, oh, that worked. Interesting.
Yeah.
And it is just like a pterodactyl kind of like just sort of like jabbing her, but that seems to like completely disable her.
Well, it doesn't in the like when you see her later, they do look like they've just squeezed fake blood all over her at different points. I feel like we needed her like crawling on the floor, like bits of it, intestines and stuff coming out. I don't know, but yeah, she's definitely damaged enough that she feels like she needs the new body. What I find really weird is at the end of that, I like the fake out ending. You think it's just ended when the pterodactyl attacks her, and then you see. I know you were saying you didn't really like the ending, but I quite like that. She, there's this real body horror of she's stolen this girl and she's tried to implant her, she's successfully implanted her brain in her head, and you've got like the scar along the forehead and stuff. What I found interesting, and I didn't quite know whether I liked it or not, is that it has all of her thoughts. It's very human. It's like, oh, you made me cheese toasties when I was ill and we went camping and there was a dog pissing on our tent. Like, wasn't that funny? Very, very human. And not at all cyber, like it's a human brain in a human body, but she still clearly has that like Siberian way of thinking. She's like, let's be upgraded together. Like she still wants to be Cyberman. Yeah. It's quite like, I think again has the potential to be really gut wrenching, but then not long afterwards.
Yeah, that was the nearly gut wrenching bit. So that twist was great. So they set it up so early in the story, like the first thing Yanto does when he's by himself is order a pizza.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, same as usual, like 2 pizzas and coleslaw, like, what does he say? Something like, oh, girlfriend says I need to eat more veggies or something.
No, he says, my boss says I need to eat more vegetables.
Oh, my boss. Okay, great. Because I was thinking, would Lisa have said that? And then she turns up and we're like, oh no, she's going right into the pterodactyl Cyberwoman trap. And she gets buzzed all the way through, I guess, by Lisa?
I think it's by the automatic I think controls? It's either by Lisa or because Tosh set everything to unlock at the same time.
Right. And so she wanders in and foolishly kind of gets herself cybered. And I actually thought that was a great twist. So he comes into kind of the conversion room that they had set up in the basement. He finds Lisa Cyberwoman dead on the floor and he's like, oh, Lisa, no. And then Gag, because I didn't remember this, I was like, Gag, that's pretty good. Yeah. The pizza woman stands up and it's like, it's me, it's Lisa, except she's now got all this scarring around her forehead where like her head's been removed. And it's like, it's me, I put my brain in here, now I'm flesh like you. So, and then it's almost sad because then, like,
he tries to kill her.
Yeah, it's sad because at that moment it's sad because Yanto's having a real crisis because then you have someone with a full human body being like, it is me, and here are my human memories. Surely you can't kill me now. And then she says that bit about conversion. Turn around. Oh my God. And the Torchwood team were just absolutely blown No hesitation. I had to laugh. I'm so sorry because they emptied their guns into that woman. They did not blink. They were like, nah.
I mean, good for them. You know what? I'll shoot first, ask question later doesn't always work. I feel like if it was going to be a moment for it, probably would be this one.
It was just so funny, like 4 of them unloading their guns into this pizza woman without a moment's hesitation. Totally synchronized. Was funny and awful to me. And that for me, like, killed the emotion stone dead, like, at that moment. So I guess then, like, final real complaint at this point is that there needs to be a consequence for Yanto of this. He's utterly betrayed the team. He created a new cyber threat for planet Earth. He put them in awful, terrible danger, clearly can't be trusted. Like, clearly, in my mind, needs to be fired and retcon pilled. And they're just like, over it. Like, next day, they're like, it's a rolling their eyes at each other, like, Nico.
No, exactly. The episode ends with them looking at him and she's like, do you reckon I'll stick around? And Jack's like, I don't know. Like, no, I forget that retcon pills exist in this world. They could just retcon him. Like, I feel like they need to do what they did in the Dalek episode where they like make him retcon him and then put him on the streets and make him homeless or something. I guess they know that they can still use him and like he's better on their side than somewhere else.
But he is so much against them now that you've just shot.
Oh yeah, Jack. He's fully said to him like. He's fully said to Jack, like, one day I'm going to have the opportunity to save you and I'm going to watch you die.
One day I'll betray you. Yeah, and, you know, Jack is like, if you don't go in there and shoot your girlfriend, I'll shoot you. There's just like, I'm like, this isn't someone you can trust anymore. You guys are really dumb. And I'm surprised that it didn't go that way again, that Yanto ever betrayed the team.
Yeah, no, it didn't. I guess, like, Gwen is still kind of a novice at this point as well. Like, she's definitely holding her own in this episode. You can kind of tell she's a bit of a novice. She's getting the ropes. It's like, maybe Jack's just a bit like, well, I'm a bit strapped for, like, people that know what they're doing. Like, I guess you can stick around for a bit.
Yeah. Final comment from me. The music on this is a little mixed. The Torchwood theme, I think, absolutely slaps in every context. The main theme is amazing, but also just anytime I hear do 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 do, I love it every time. The like rock music, the electric guitar that they use throughout in this, but specifically when the Cyberwoman is first revealed, despise it.
Really?
It is so yeah, it like it wants to be like here she is, and it just just the contrast, like how cool it thinks it is and what it is. Like, oh my god, man! So it was a lot. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me.
It wasn't for you. No, well, I love the theme tune as well, like you were saying. I also love that it ends with David Tennant going Torchwood, 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 which I just think is a really fun fact. I also forgot how camp every episode Torchwood is when it opens and it's like Jack going like Torchwood, beyond the government secret agency, and he gives like the little speech in the montage at the beginning of every episode, which is so like unlike any show in the Doctor Who world ever. I just forget that happens. The music's very intense, but it really didn't take me out of it because I just think this show in this era is very intense. I think if the music was like that in, say, Miracle Day, I'd be so taken out of it. But in the context of this episode in this time, really, really didn't like take me out of it. I feel like I was already taken out of it.
Take you out of what?
Well, exactly. That's my point. I think I was already so taken out of it by everything else that like there was nothing else to take.
By the episode.
Exactly. But yeah, no, it's very much a product of its time. I'm glad it exists. I also think it's one of the most memorable, for as bad as it is at times, and it is bad at times, I think it is one of the most memorable Torchwood storylines of seasons 1 and 2.
It is. And I feel bad as well because we read out some like critical tweets there. We did have someone come back, I think, and say they actually really enjoyed it. They felt they dealt with some mature themes. They feel it's a really underrated episode. And I don't want to be like dunking on like, if you love this, you love this. Like, it's very much like our ethos with all of Doctor Who is that we are such believers in enjoying like every last bit of it, whether it's objectively good or not, whether it's well received or not. Like Doctor Who also like, and expanded kind of spin-offs like thrive on this sort of nonsense. Like this is the sort of nonsense that is absolutely the lifeblood of the show, and just like being experimental with ridiculous concepts like the Cyberkini and the Cyberkitten heels.
The Cyberkini
are very important.
Oh, goodness me. Yeah, no, it's very, I think that it's just a very much a product of its time, and I gotta say, I still enjoyed it. It's not great, but I still enjoyed it. I think that Bad Wolf Archives tweet was really good, where it was like, it's atrocious, it's awful, it's this, it's that. Beautiful piece of television. Like
beautiful piece of television.
Yeah.
As much as we've dunked on this, I had so much fun watching it. And the other bit that you must check out, if you don't check out the episode, I beg you to do one thing, which is go to the end of this episode and watch the next time preview. We've also tweeted it. It is unbelievably chaotic. It is edited like a YouTube poop. It is such profound nonsense, and it's choppy and ridiculous. Go and see what that looks like. The Next Time trailer at the end of Series 1, Episode 4 of Torchwood. Look at the Next Time trailer, because it absolutely sent me west when I first saw it.
Well, look, there's a lot of camp in Torchwood, and I think that's one thing that I'm very grateful for it. And let me tell you this, Alasdair. I've got a very fun game ahead for you. Are you ready for a very cyber episode of Camp or Damp?
Woohoo! Delete.
Well, Camp or Damp this week, it's very themed. I've got 3 things for you, and I want you to tell me which is the most camp. They're all camp. They're all camp, these things. I want you to tell me which is the most camp. The Cyberkini, the silver cyber nails, or the Cyberkitten heels that go doof when they're dragged against the morgue.
Where do we go with this? So it's interesting. So the first one, the Cyberkini, it's like it's necessary that there's something on her. It didn't need to be a Cyberkini. It should have really just been a partial Cyberman costume. The normal one. There was no reason for it to look like this whatsoever. The second bit, the silver nails, okay. It's kind of like, okay, maybe she just had those on in the office. Maybe that wasn't part of the conversion. The Cyberkitten heels are a choice. They are a specific choice because they're not functional. Like there's no reason for them to be included at all unless a Cyberman cyber controller was having a laugh.
Yeah.
And specifically, yes, the way that she enters and slides them in this very like cunty close-up. For me, they're the campus part. When I saw those, I was like smashing the screenshot button. Just trying to I was like, ah!
It's so funny.
The Cyberkini, I think, is like the most well-known part of this. I didn't expect there to be like a close-up grab of the Cyberkini from the Doctor. Not the Doctor, but the Doctor of this episode. The nails, a lovely touch that I feel like they probably thought was quite clever as well when they did it.
Yeah.
But for me, I think the kitten heels probably take this one. Someone replied, Kenny Koala replied to our tweet and said, this episode is both camp and damp at the same time. And I'm like, it truly
That's
is.
So
I think
true.
Of every episode we've ever discussed, this is the one that straddles camp and damp most most perfectly right down the middle.
This really is camp and damp. Well, look, for an episode that's camp and damp, I still managed to find fun facts for this episode were a bit few and far between, but I have managed to get a few for you.
Okay, go on.
So Chris Chibnall went through numerous working titles for this episode, including The Trouble with Lisa and The Long Night of Yanto, but Cyberwoman was ultimately chosen because it's the title that, quote, says it all.
It says it all.
It does what it says on the tin.
It does say it all. You know what, the other ones add like a bit of mystique to the whole thing that probably isn't really deserved. The Trouble with Lisa, I think, is a good one. The Long Night of Yanto, I don't know. Cyberwoman is kind of like the dumbest one, but really does. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? It says it all.
It's a weird one because Cyberwoman definitely is the dumbest of them all, but it also, I think, fits the best. I think in an episode like this, it probably does need just something to be like, this is what this episode is. It's the Cyberwoman one.
It's what it is.
This episode was among the first pitched for the series, as the creator, Russell T Davies, saw potential to continue his story from the Doctor episodes Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. So he apparently gave the pitch to Chris Chibnall saying, can you write a story about a woman that was partially converted being kept in the Torchwood basement? And that was like the pitch he gave him. And then obviously Chibnall wrote this episode. So it really was a birth child between the two of them.
Yes. So thank you both. We won't be needing your services at this time.
One final little fun fact for you. Lisa mentions in the episode that the hub would make a good Cyberman factory, and the Torchwood hub set was actually redressed as a Cyberman factory in the next Doctor.
Very good. There's a great set tour, actually, behind the scenes. I'm not sure how you find it, but it's one that Freema Agyeman does. She kind of leads it, and she shows you around like the prop store, and you see the Torchwood hub, and you see the TARDIS, and it's really interesting how close the Torchwood hub set is to everything else. It is like built either like opposite or right on the back of the TARDIS set. It's like right next to it. It's very funny when you see the outside of it.
It's really weird seeing how close things that are together. Like I know I've seen drag race photos before where the runway is right next to the workroom. Like they're two open sets together, and it's so strange when you see it like that.
Someone said this, right? They saw these pictures of the workroom, like the outside of it, and they were like, it's a set, and they were horrified. They were like looking at the plywood, and I was like, baby, yeah, like what were you imagining? Like I actually
you see the brick walls wobbling. You see the brick
I was like,
walls.
what did you think it was? Like it's the most set looking set I've ever seen, with the most artificial lighting, wobbly walls. When they write on the mirror, the whole thing like shakes. It's like, what I want to know, like what was in your head? Like how did you think this room was?
Yeah,
like, what do
literally.
you think was outside? Do you think this was a cottage?
They just thought it was the drag race building.
Right.
Exactly. Oh, God. Well, thank you so much, dear listener, for listening to this episode. Please, more so than ever, I want to know what you think. Reach out to us on all of our social media. We're talking X, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, all of which are at Wholala Pod. Let us know what you thought of Cyberwoman. And you can also listen to old episodes of our podcast on our YouTube channel, which is also at Wholala Pod.
Yes, now more than ever, we need your input. And let's say as well, we're not cyberbullies. If you... Cyberbullies! If you love this episode, you are so welcome to put yourself out there and defend it. We're certainly not those twins to get a pile on. We will listen respectfully to all and any views. If you're a Cyberwoman lover, a heavy metal lover, as the Gaga stands would say. That's what they should have called this episode, Heavy Metal Lover.
Heavy Metal Lover.
Then we'd love to hear from you as well. If you enjoyed this episode, enjoyed this review, enjoyed this critique, enjoyed this dunking, then do feel free to share this with a friend. Share it on your story, retweet, quote tweet, screen record a snippet that made you chuckle, and tag us in that. You can also donate to our coffee, ko-fi, if you'd like to give us a little £3.50, and we'll split that two ways. We very much appreciate all of that. Oh, give us a review. If you enjoyed the episode as well, give us a 5-star review. It's always strongly appreciated. It only takes a second, and you can even leave words if you're doing it on Apple Podcasts, which we really appreciate too.
We love hearing what you say. It generally helps out the pod, and we have a good old time reading them. So thank you so much.
We have a great old time reading it.
And next week, you can catch us on Thursday, as always, on Wholala, where we will be talking about the infamous comic relief special, Curse of the Fatal Death.
Oh, yes, we will. We will. I've not seen that one for a very long time, so I'll be enlightening myself with that this week.
I'm so excited to watch it. It's one I've been wanting to do for Wholala for so long, and we've kind of been putting it off. It's something that some people still consider somewhat canon, which is really funny to me. But yeah, I've not seen it in ages before either, so I'm excited to give it a watch.
You know what, baby? It's your podcast. You can do what you want on here.
We can do what we want. It's 20 minutes
long.
long.
We can do anything.
I forget about that.
We can say anything. This is nonsense. We can say anything.
We could shamble, bobble, dibble, doodle, yippity-doo, yippity-da, ting-tong, luppy-duppy-too-ta.
Cyberboom.
And on that note, goodbye.
On that note, goodbye.
Goodbye.